So I just read Dark Harvest by Reynolds and it was pretty good. Dark Harvest takes place in a creepy rotting swamp in Gyra, somewhat close to Greywater Fastness. It follows Heron Blackwood, a former Sigmarite priest turned mafia legbreaker, on a quest to find an old partner of him. But things soon take a turn for the worst as he starts to uncover the sinister secrets of the village and its surroundings. All the while, we slowly learn more about the dark day that Heron lost his faith. Dark Harvest is classified as a horror novel. It even has specifically been put in the Warhammer horror category, but I don't entirely agree with this. Sure, it is creepy and it has horror elements, but in my opinion this is more of a thriller mixed with a bit of detective novel than a true horror story. The best thing about Dark Harvest is the atmosphere. The downtrodden village, slowly sinking into the murky waters of the swamp filled with crazy Sylvaneth, monstrous eels and other even worse beings. This place is bad and Reynolds knows exactly how to convince the reader of it. All in all, a great book if you want to learn how creepy swamps can be. The book earns another bonus points for all the crazy and scary monster descriptions. There's two that I want to highlight here. For starters, I really like the way Reynolds uses the Sylvaneth as such potent nightmare fuel. Never before did I realize how truly terrifying those trees can be. Secondly, there's the little guys that Heron constantly sees. No one else can see them, but the swamp is filled with small ghosts, and these ghosts have some semblance to who they were, but they lack the true facial features and limbs. Not only is this quite an unsettling concept, but Reynolds also does a great job of utilizing the different guys for the story. Haran himself is a pretty cool character too, but he's also a bit cliché. Haran is your stereotypical anti-hero criminal. He knows the trade, he's aggressive and quite an arsehole, but he does have his heart at the right place. Usually. He's also highly competent. He seems to know the end result of almost any scenario and he outmatches practically every opponent. The latter is one of the main reasons why this book does not feel like a horror book, by the way. Haran has way too much control over the situation to make you believe he's ever in any real danger. The other characters were alright, but nothing special. I gotta say, I'm a bit disappointed in this regard, as Reynolds usually fills his book with all sorts of great side characters and factions. Hell, in some of his books, the side characters are almost more interesting than the main character. Anyway, this was not one of those books. I did love the portrayal of both the Stormcasts and the cities of Sigmar here. The Stormcasts aren't written as glorious knights in shiny armor, they're practically lightning demons. The only difference being that usually the humans are on the good side of their patron god, but you'd better think twice about changing your fate to someone else. The people in the novel don't look up to them, they fear them, not just for their great power but also for their lack of humanity. I really like this more morally grey type of image for the Stormcast, who are too often seen as the glorious good guys. Greywater Fastness feels much more real as well. It's no great bastion of hope and glory, it's dark, dirty and dangerous. Basically what you would expect of a medieval city in such a hostile place, where every day an invasion could start out of nowhere. You also see what happens when the gods abandon their projects for a while. Crime runs rampant, the city became a dirty industrial hellhole, and they even reintroduced slavery. In other words, this book is the Zack Snyder cut of Age of Sigmar, and I'm all down for it. The only big downside of the book in my opinion is the ending. The pacing of the book is deliberately slow to build up towards this big showdown where all the mysteries become revealed and all the plot points are resolved, but the ending really wasn't worth it in my opinion. It is so simple and bland that I was just thinking, wait, really? That was it? What also doesn't help is that it ends on somewhat of a cliffhanger, making it feel more like the prologue for another book rather than a separate novel, but yeah, who knows, maybe there would have been a sequel if Games Workshop hadn't fired Reynolds. I don't know. All in all, I'm giving this book 4 to 5 spooky guys. It is a very atmospheric novel which presents a unique darker version of the Age of Sigmar setting, filled with horrific monsters and dystopian locations. There's a lot of build-up, but the payoff is too boring for it to feel rewarding. If you're looking for a grimdark portrayal of Age of Sigmar, or maybe for some inspiration for a more sinister Sylvaneth army, be sure to check out this book. On the other hand, if you're just looking for a book with a funny or clever story, I'd recommend reading something else.
If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and click ringing the bell to appease the Great Horned Rat. For more lore content, please check my main channel and leave any book recommendations in the comments down below. I gotta get back to reading the next book.